So let's take a look at Android. I'm going to navigate to the Google Play Store and we're going to check out some of the available applications. Now, as I mentioned, these are apps that do not require you to root Android. So the first and probably most common tool is Nmap, and there are a few variations of Nmap available for Android. We'll choose Network Mapper. Go ahead and install Network Mapper. And once this is installed, you'll see that it functions more or less just as Nmap. It is a front end for Nmap, and you'll actually see the command line activities run in the interface. So download that, go ahead and open it. And it'll ask you to download the binaries for Nmap. So we'll go ahead and download those binaries. And we'll choose an IP address. I'll just choose one that I know is available on the network. So 192.168.1.3. Go ahead and scan that. You can see the commands running underneath. And the scan is done. You can see that this machine is listening on port 88, Kerberos. It looks like it's an Active Directory server. And it has some compact diagnostic tools running. So this is obviously a Windows machine. And so we could further probe those services. So very handy. We could scan ranges of IP addresses as well. Let's go ahead and scan another IP. Choose .2 and see if that comes up with anything. Okay, it says 0 hosts up, so that is not a functioning IP. But if we wanted to, we could scan ranges of IPs, and it's very convenient because you can do that with a tool that's in your pocket. You don't even have to have a laptop. So let's go back to the Google Play Store, and let's search for some additional tools. I'm going to search for a tool called Hackode. And Hackode is a tool that is really a bundle of tools. So I'll go ahead and accept the permissions. It will ask for access to the device. Go ahead and open that. And once this opens, we can see that there's several categories. You have reconnaissance, scanning, exploits, and security feeds. So under reconnaissance, you can see that we've got Google hacking. If you check Google hacking, these are preformed Google dorking or hacking queries that you can run, pre-formatted for you, and here they are. You can see some of these systems that might be vulnerable. And we move down to scanning. We can do pings, trace routes. We can search for MX records or mail exchanger records. And so this is essentially a link to a dig tool. And I've just digged Google. So we can see the IP addresses there. Now they have a spot for exploits, but those tools have not been released, at least in this version. And you could check security feeds, which can be very handy to keep track of the latest vulnerabilities as they are released and documented via securityfocus.com. All right, so that's a quick overview of Hackode. So there are some tools that allow you to actually intercept or conduct man-in-the-middle attacks for SMS and actual phone calls. And one of those is called Evil Operator. Now it is a app that requires the device to be rooted, so we don't find it in the Google Play Store, but it's one to be aware of. Another interesting app is a Shell Shock Scanner app by Zimperium. And what this application does is it's essentially a vulnerability scanner for Android devices. So you can scan your local device to see if it is vulnerable to the shell shock vulnerability and or other potential vulnerabilities. So go ahead and install that, choose Open, and give it the permissions that it asks for upon installation. And you can see that you can do a device vulnerability check and an application vulnerability check. You can see here my Android device, which is a Nexus 5, is not vulnerable to shell shock. So Fing Network Tools is another great bundle of tools for Wi-Fi reconnaissance and Wi-Fi network scanning. So I'm going to download Fing, install the APK, set it up, give it the permissions that it requires, and you can see that there are quite a few devices it's picking up here, and we can barrel into those devices. You can see the MAC address of these devices that are on the wireless networks, and we can see services that are being advertised, and it even identifies vendors. You can ping and scan some of these devices, so very handy application for network scanning, and in particular wireless network scanning. So we'll do a scan on the .10 IP address and see if it has any services. It looks like it has one service, iPhone sync service, so this might be a Mac or an iPhone.